What's going on, guys? Alex Fernandez here, coming to you with a video on how to do front squats. Okay, so I received a question from someone on Instagram. Her handle is FallenForYou640, I think, or 604. I'm not sure which one, but she wanted to know how to do front squats with weight. So let's just jump right into it. The first thing I'm going to cover though is what exactly is a front squat. It has the bar resting on your clavicle and on your shoulder. So essentially you're going to have one of two hand positions, first one being the hand over hand and the other one being a rack where you have your fingers bracing the bar just like this. And this puts a lot more emphasis on the quads instead of the hamstring and glute. So there's two basic points that I'm going to cover in this video. Number one being the technique and how to rack the bar, and then number two being the mobility needed, such as stretches that you can do and how to drop down lower, things like that. So jumping right into it, there are two basic points that I'm going to cover in this video. Number one being how to rack the bar, and number two being the flexibility needed in order to get into the rack position. The hand position that I prefer to use and the one that I'm going to cover and use is this front rack position here, used by Olympic weightlifters, and this obviously requires a lot of wrist flexibility, so watch till the end of the video and I'll cover that. But depending on how flexible you are, you can put all four fingers in there, or I prefer to have three. You can do two. Like I said, just depends on how flexible you are. Now, some basic points here. The weight shouldn't be resting on the fingertips. It should be, or supported by the fingertips. It should be supported by the shoulder and the clavicle, and that's done by driving the elbows upward. And so all your fingers are doing are kind of balancing the bar. So once you have the bar in the rack position, you can begin your front squat. I typically like to do, just to show you guys, a little bit of a wider stance just because I'm taller and it just feels better to me. The main cue here is definitely to drive your elbows up, and this will help as you get more flexible in your wrists, because as you get into heavier weight, it'll tend to want to pull you downward, and you don't, obviously you don't want that. You want to be as straight up as possible. So once again, I like a wider stance. You can do narrow, however you feel comfortable, and then you drop down and up. Once again, driving your elbows up, keeping the bar somewhat into your neck, not like choking or strangling you, but enough to where you can feel it. So some other pointers about the technique behind this front squat. I mean, it's pretty basic. The only difference obviously being that it's on your clavicle. So you will feel a bit of pain like the first few weeks that you're doing it, but I mean, you could get a bar pad and that'll obviously help a lot. Or your clavicle, your shoulders, everything will get used to the pressure being on there as you get into heavier weight, so that lighter weight feels a little better. Like right now, obviously you can't see it because my camera quality is shit, but I have red marks from doing them earlier today, and it just happens, comes with the territory. So point number two is wrist flexibility, which is super important, as you can see from the rack position that I prefer. Now I'm going to show you a stretch that I really like and I use before any kind of squatting kind of exercise. Alright, so essentially all you need is a wall in your own arm. Now what I want you to do is put your fingertips pointing downward and press your hand flat against the wall just like this, and then have your arm straight like that. If you can't do it, that's okay. Some people may only be able to get here, or here. But the more that you do it, through like a 30-second hold, you'll get better and better until you can eventually flatten it against the wall. And then the second portion of this stretch is you're going to turn away from it. So physically turn your body away. Ooh, I can feel a stretch already. And it's going to stretch all the way up through your bicep, through your shoulder, into your pec as you turn away from it. And do it for both sides, 30-second holds, and you'll be able to get underneath the bar. I like to do it right before I do the front squats, just in general, just so that I know that I'm loose and can get into the rack the most effectively. Alright guys, so that was how to front squat. Like I said, just showing you the technique, how to get under the bar, some flexibility movements. Another thing you can invest in is a pair of weightlifting shoes, and this will help compensate for any lack of ankle mobility so you're not coming up onto the balls of your feet, because you want all the weight, just like a back squat, coming through your heel and then driving upward. The importance of this exercise, in the way of bodybuilding at least, puts a lot of stress and tension on your quad, and that'll help develop it exponentially. Another thing, like just as a little extra, you can invest in a pair of weightlifting shoes, and they essentially have a wedge that'll kind of help you compensate for any lack of ankle mobility so you're not coming up on the balls of your feet, because you want the weight to be back on your heels and being driven up like that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe, comment anything that you guys want to see. My email, Instagram, and Snapchat will be in the description box below. So yeah, hop on that and then have a good one.